And this one, I think, is the only Jane Austen retelling that I've read that's actually fallen pretty flat. So, cool. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey, and we're about to get very, very nerdy with some 5-star predictions. So over a year ago, I want to say it was near the beginning of 2019, I created a 5-star prediction video, which I will leave linked above if you would like to check it out, or it's over here. I don't actually know. It's above. I went over 6 books that I thought would be 5-star predictions for me. So I thought as of June, having finished all of those books that I had predicted, I would quickly wrap up those and then pick some more 5-star predictions. So we have 6 to go over really quickly, and then I've got 6 new ones. So let's just get right into it. The first 3 from the that I'm gonna wrap up, I read in February of 2020, so I will leave the wrap up for that linked above. The first one was Jane Austen by Hilary Manton Lodge. I put this on the list because it was a Jane Austen retelling. This one is specifically of Sense and Sensibility, and I never read anything like that before. This one felt a little flat for me. I ended up giving it 3 stars. It's the only Jane Austen retelling that actually kind of fell a little flat for me. It wasn't super original, but I still enjoyed my time reading it. This is in the no. I didn't do so good on this one. The next one was Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. I really love Christina Lauren's books. I'd read a few already, and I thought that I was really going to like this. And I did. I ended up giving this one 5 stars, I believe. Maybe 4.5 at the time, but it's definitely been bumped up to 5. So this one definitely worked for me. I really love Christina Lauren, so it's not really a surprise to me that this one worked. This is one of their more popular ones, I would say, and it's a friends to lovers romance. And that usually doesn't work for me. I prefer enemies to lovers, but Christina Lauren did fantastic. So this one was correct. I did actually give it 5 stars. The next one was Of Curses and Kisses by Sandhya Menon. This is the first in her companion series. I think it's going to be a trilogy, the Rosetta Academy. And so this, like I said, is the first one. It's a loose retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I personally love Sandhya Menon's writing. I love, love, love her rom-comness, and I'd read at this point, I think, only 1 book before this one, and this was an ARC. This is still my ARC copy, but I really enjoyed it. This got 5 stars from me. Enemies to lovers, but with people who have lots and lots of money. So yeah, I put it on here because I really enjoy the author, and this one definitely worked. The next one was Bygone Badass Broads by Mackenzie Lee. This is a nonfiction book, and I put this on because right around the time that I'd made that video, I had finished her second book, A Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy, and I really enjoyed her writing in that one, and so I wanted to see kind of how she did it with this sort of non-fiction format. I ended up really enjoying this one. This one did not get 5 stars. It ended up getting 4 stars, but still pretty close. I ended up reading this one in last month, so July's wrap-up I will leave linked above, but I really, really enjoyed this one. Not a full 5 star for me, but the writing I enjoyed. The writing was probably my favorite part of it, which is why I put it on this list. So I'll still count that a win. The next one is yet another one because of the author, and that is The Lost Memoirs of Jane Austen by Scribd James. Now, I read this one in May of this year, so again, we'll leave that linked above, but this one I put on the list because I'd read something else by this author, The Missing Manuscripts of Jane Austen, and gave that 5 stars and really, really loved it. And I thought that I would really enjoy this one, and I did. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars instead of 5 stars. It didn't quite tick all the boxes for me, but it was super, super close, and I loved it for all the reasons I thought I was going to love it. So, still would count this as a win as well, because it's just like, it's so close to 5 stars, but just not quite. But, yeah. I still liked it. And then the last one on this list I read also in May of this year, and at the time of putting it on the list, it made sense. Looking back on it now, probably wouldn't have put it on this list, but that is the second in the Heart of Iron series, Soul of Stars, or the Heart of Iron duology. I loved the first one, Heart of Iron, and I gave it 5 stars. And because I loved the first one so much, I thought for sure I was going to love this one. The first one is very loosely based on the story of Anastasia, but kind of like set in space, and I really thought I was going to like this. And I did. I ended up giving it 4 stars, I think, but I put too much time between this and the first one, so that one was mostly on me, but it was still good. Like, I'm so glad that I finally have this completed, but I got 4 instead of 5. So looking at this, I don't know if I'm very good at guessing the 5-star predictions. I had 2 5 stars out of these 6 books, and the rest were either 4 or 4.5, except for one. One was a 3-star. But all the reasons why I put them on the list are the reasons I liked them, so telling what I like is correct. This just, you know, it just didn't work. This round wasn't great. But I have 6 brand new books to tell you about that I think I'm actually going to really, really, really enjoy. So let's just dive into those real quick and hope that the second round of 5-star predictions is better than the first one. The first one on this list is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. Now, I think I'm really going to enjoy this because I've never read anything by Margaret Rogerson before, but from the people who have read this and enjoyed it, or even kind of the people who didn't enjoy it, the things that they say about it are things that I enjoy. It's actually very similar to how I felt about Sarah J. Maas before going into any of her books, because everything people were saying, even the negative things, were things that I enjoy about books. So I think I'm really going to enjoy this one. It is a standalone fantasy. She's really good at that. She also has another book that's a standalone, and I love standalone fantasies. I don't read them very often. I read lots of series, but I think that I'm really going to enjoy this. I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I think I will definitely fall in that camp. So, and I do think I'm going to give it 5 stars. So this gives me kind of like ACOTAR vibes in the sense of like how I approached that series and that author's work. So I'm hoping this will actually end up being 5 stars. I think it will. I do think it will. Kind of in that same vein, this one might be, well, I wouldn't say cheating, but we all know I'm going to give it 5 stars, and that is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. This is her newest book that came out this year in the ACOTAR series. I kind of binged the ACOTAR series in the last few months in like the middle of the summer, and I really enjoyed it, and I've heard that this is the best for a lot of different people, and I gave everything so far in the ACOTAR series 5 stars. So I honestly do think this one will get 5 stars from me. It does follow Nesta, which is Feyre's sister, after the events of the kind of like first half of this series. And there's been some things that have been hinted at it. I believe Cassian is going to play a huge part in this. So I have predictions, but I honestly do think I'm really, really going to enjoy this based on my experience with the rest of this series. So I'd honestly be really surprised if this didn't get 5 stars. Like, it's kind of a shoo-in at this point. The next one I actually don't have a physical copy of yet because it's not quite out yet. It comes out, I believe, in September, and that is Portrait of a Scotsman by Evie Dunmore. This is the third in her kind of like extraordinary women's series. I don't exactly remember what it's called, but it's basically the series that follows 4 women in Oxford, London, about the time of the suffragette movement, and they're in the Oxford chapter of the suffragettes. And so it's the 4 of them. Each story follows one of their romances. We've seen 2 out of the 4 girls so far. This is just the 3rd one. And I love Evie Dunmore's writing. She's an incredible writer. This is her debut series. The first in this was her debut novel, and it honestly didn't feel like a debut novel. It felt so, it felt amazing. I loved every second of it. It's super fun, steamy, Regency England goodness, but also you have very like powerful main characters because they're like women who are standing up for themselves and their right to vote. So I'm excited to see this one, especially because the male love interest in this we get introduced to in the second book, and it just kind of is like shocking, I guess, to be a love interest, and I'm so excited about it. But she really does this kind of hate to love romance, and I've loved it in the last 2 books, and I know I'm gonna love it in this one. So the next one is one that you would have already seen this month. I've got plans to read it very soon because it's in my August TBR, and that is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. Now, I honestly do think I'm really, really going to like this. People who know my reading tastes very well have told me to read this. My best friend, who knows my reading taste more than anybody else, I would say, really thinks that I will enjoy this. And it just sounds like so much fun. But it follows our main character, Linus, who is a caseworker in the department in charge of magical youth, and he is sent to this home where there are magical children, kind of just to make sure that they are okay and safe and they're not gonna cause havoc. And I think one of them is like the Antichrist, which I need to know what all of that means. But then, like, the person in charge of this home, I think Linus and this guy have, you know, feelings and relationships, and I'm so excited. Like I was talking to my best friend about this the other day, and she told me she cried because it was so cute, and like that's the energy I want. But it's kind of marketed as a middle grade for adults, and I'm so excited. So I will definitely be reading this very, very soon. But I do think I'm going to love it. I do think it will get 5 stars. So the next one I have on this list is purely for, I would say it's a mixture between author and kind of like setting, and that is this Tessa Dare book, which is When a Scot Ties the Knot, and this is the second in her Castles Ever After series. I have read a few Tessa Dare books recently, and she's becoming a new favorite historical romance author for me, and this one is set in the Highlands, and I really love that Highland Scottish kind of setting. And so this one particularly follows our main character, Madeline, who is just like a shy girl, and she's in her London season, and she really, really doesn't want to be with anybody. So she creates this Highlander that she's in love with, writes him letter after letter, and you know, even claims that he has died in battle, and in doing so, everyone kind of has left her alone. And then this name that she thought she had kind of made up, a man or a Highlander with the same name shows up on her doorstep, wounded, in possession of all of her letters, and is ready to make, you know, good on every promise that is claimed in these letters. And I just, that sounds like so much fun. It's really the Scottish setting and the author, because Tessa Dare is becoming, like I said, one of my faves. So I do think I'm really, really going to enjoy this. It just sounds like fun. I'm so excited. And the last one that's kind of on this predicted 5-star list is one that I don't have a physical copy of. It's actually an ebook version that I have, but that is The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert. This is one of, I would say, one of her firsts that she's ever written. I don't remember what it was originally called. It has gotten a rebrand. This is the new cover, the new title that she kind of rebranded a few of hers recently, and this was one that she put on her Instagram and said this was one of the ones that she was the most proud of having written. And now I love Talia Hibbert for her Brown Sisters trilogy. She's become very, very quickly one of my favorite writers, and I want to continue to read all of her backlist things, and her claiming that this is one of her favorites really kind of like stuck it in my head. So I think I'm really, really going to enjoy this. Like I said, I've loved everything that she's written. I gave everything in the Brown Sisters trilogy 5 stars, so I think she's an author that I really, really am going to love kind of no matter what she writes. So I do expect this to be all fun, good, romancy, steamy goodness, and like, again, kind of with Silver Flames, I would be really surprised if this wasn't a 5-star. So yeah, that's kind of a look at some of my new 5-star predictions and a quick kind of wrap up of my previous ones. Like I said, I will leave linked above all of the wrap ups for the ones I've already talked about, so that you can kind of see much more thoughts than me just saying, this is why I put it on this list, this is what it got. Yay or nay. So definitely go check those out. I'll leave them linked down below as well. But I hope that you guys enjoyed. Let me know down below if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned, or if you have a few books that you were like, these are for sure gonna be 5 stars for me. I would love to know some of your 5-star predictions. But if you liked this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome Grang family. I've also got all my social media down there, so don't forget to check all of us out, and I'll see you guys in my next video.